I was sitting in the family room, watching television, the kind of quiet that settles into your bones when the day is finally done. Then the remote clicked, sharp, sudden, like a gunshot. The screen went black. "Go to your room, old woman," my son-in-law said. "This living room is mine now." My daughter didn't say a word. She didn't look up. She just dropped her eyes like she'd learned how to disappear. I stood there for a moment. Then took my keys and walked out without saying a thing. But let me take you back to that evening, because moments like these don't come out of nowhere. I was in my green velvet armchair. The one I bought with my very first Social Security check after my husband died 15 years ago. Coffee sat cooling. Beside me, the kitchen smelled like peach cobbler. The news murmured softly on the TV. This was my time, the hour when my joints eased and I didn't have to serve anyone. I could just exist. Then the front door slammed. I didn't turn around. I already knew. Derek walked in like the house had always belonged to him. Behind him was my daughter, Lena, weighed down by shopping bags and something heavier I couldn't see. Her shoulders sagged. Her eyes stayed on the floor. Like she was apologizing just for standing there, Derek stepped in front of the TV and blocked my view. He always did that little snort when he saw me resting, like my stillness offended him. He grabbed the remote and shut everything off. "To your room," he barked. "I've got the game on." The silence thickened. I could hear his breathing, loud and smug, like he'd just claimed territory. I turned slowly and looked at Lena. She stood frozen in the doorway, her knuckles white around the shopping bags. I waited. Just one sentence, just one defense. "Don't you dare talk to my mother like that. This is her house." Instead, she adjusted one of the bags and stared at the floor. That movement hurt more than the words ever could. In that moment, something inside me went cold and clear. Not anger, not sadness. Clarity. 35 years working at the county recorder's office taught me one thing: words fade. Documents don't. I stood up. My knees cracked in the quiet, loud enough to sound official. Derek had already sprawled across my couch, shirt unbuttoned, soda in hand, in his world. I was just furniture. I walked past him and into my room, not to cry, not to hide. I opened the bottom drawer of my dresser and pulled out a stiff leather pouch. Inside was a set of keys and a blue folder held together with an old elastic band. The deed, owner, Celeste M. Everson. The paper was yellowed, but the power in it was solid as steel. In the mirror, I saw what they saw: grey hair, glasses on a chain, linen pants, a navy blouse, a harmless grandmother who baked and kept quiet. That had always been my camouflage. As long as Grandma feeds the wolves, they think they rule the forest. I closed the drawer and walked back out. The sports channel blared. Lena clattered dishes, pretending silence was a choice. I headed for the front door. My heels clicked on the hardwood. Derek smirked and raised his soda. "Going for a walk, Celeste. Don't get lost." I didn't answer. I turned the deadbolt and paused. I looked at the framed prints, the rug I vacuumed every Saturday. My son-in-law's back, my daughter's. Shadow in the kitchen. I felt the cold weight of my keys in my pocket. Then I stepped outside and closed the door gently but firmly, like placing a period at the end of a sentence. The air was crisp. I wasn't cold. I locked the gate, hailed a cab, and gave the driver an address, the Grand Hyatt downtown, in the car. I made one phone call. "Andrew Sterling," I said. When he answered, "I need your help." By morning, the paperwork was signed, the notice prepared. A young man in a sharp suit was on his way to my house. While I sat in a hotel room with lavender sheets and the TV volume set exactly how I liked it. At 9:30, my phone buzzed. Lena's name lit up the screen. I let it ring. Then I answered. "There's a man here," she cried. "Derek is screaming. Mama, what is happening?" "That," I said calmly, "is the law." She started to argue. I stopped her for the first time in years. I said, I am completely sane. I ended the call. The silence returned as easily as flipping off a lamp, and this time it stayed. The office door opened just a crack. Andrew the fifth Sterling peered over his glasses. Daughter, I nodded. The show has opened right on schedule, he said quietly. Roman served the papers. We have the signatures, inventory attached, now. We wait. I settled into a chair in the reception area. The vending machine coffee smelled faintly of caramel. The clock on the wall whispered tick-tock, but I wasn't thinking about time. I was thinking about how, for years, I had shrunk myself inside my own home. How I learned to move like a footstool, careful not to disturb moods. How I ate the burned edges of pie and left the soft center for the king of the living room. How I watched my shows with headphones so his conference calls wouldn't be interrupted. How I paid triple the utilities and said nothing. I opened my purse and unfolded a paper creased into quarters. My pension statement, the lifetime payout my banker husband had arranged. A couple of steady investment accounts. The numbers stood in neat rows like soldiers at attention. Those numbers meant I could live. Those numbers meant I didn't have to beg. Next came another printout, transfers, the down payment for their black crossover, emergency top-ups when the car payment nearly bounced, gifts labeled family support. Sometimes my hand had trembled, but my signature was always straight. Old habits die hard. My phone vibrated again. Lena. I turned it face down. A text came through from Derek. Come home, let's talk. Then from Lena. Mom, please. No. I brushed the notifications away like crumbs from a table. Andrew stepped back into the hall. Tea, he asked. I want something else. I said, I need to suspend the utilities. He raised an eyebrow. Which ones? Everything in my name. Internet, cable, sports package, landline. And the supplementary grocery card. Lena. Uses not cancel, suspend. I'll turn them back on when the house is mine alone again. He gave a slow, appreciative smirk. That will be felt. Yesterday was painful, I said. Today will simply be felt. They're not the same. I took out a small notebook and opened a clean page. Step 1. Legal. Papers served. Deadline set. Step 2. Financial. Turn off the taps. Let the king learn the cost of his kingdom. Step 3. Silence. No explanations. Only facts. The phone buzzed again. Long, frantic messages. He's furious. We were embarrassed. People saw. Where are you? Let's talk. I said nothing. Today, my nothing was the answer. Is there a decent clothing store nearby? I asked, closing the notebook. The Galley Mall. To blocks, Andrew said. What are you planning? I met his eyes. I'm dressed like a grandma, and I'm about to set boundaries. I need a uniform. You're dangerous when you're calm, he said, this time without smiling. I'm just returning to myself, I replied, and walked out. Outside, the air was bright and dry. My steps were quick, purposeful. Reflections in the windows showed a woman standing straighter, thinking clearly, no pity, no revenge, only order. At the mall, I paused. Ran my fingers over my purse strap and exhaled. First the uniform, then the taps. Inside the classic clothing department, a consultant named Jenna greeted me with steady eyes. I need a uniform, I said, calm, businesslike. I'm setting boundaries today. She nodded and disappeared, returning with navy straight leg trousers, a crisp white blouse, and a beige linen blazer. In the fitting room, everything fell into place. The trousers sharpened my posture. The blazer pulled my shoulders back. Low-heeled leather pumps tapped against the tile like a metronome. I folded my old clothes into a bag. Give these to charity. I said, let them serve someone else. Seated on a soft ottoman, I made my calls. I am the contract holder, I told the service provider. I request temporary suspension of services at this address. Internet, Cable, sports package, landline, repairs start today, disconnection within to us. Next call. The bank, block the supplementary card in Lena Everson's name, security reasons, lower limits. Alerts only to my number. Done, the voice replied. My stomach tightened, not hunger, adrenaline. Upstairs, in a quiet restaurant, I ordered mushroom risotto and a glass of dry white wine. I placed my phone face down and ate slowly. For once, I wasn't rushing. Then, the vibration. Transaction declined, $85, butcher shop. I smiled. Brief, unsentimental. Another message followed. The card isn't working. Call the bank. We're at the register. I typed one response. It's not a malfunction. It's a freeze. The credit and the trust expired yesterday. I finished my meal, paid with ease, and left like someone walking through her own front door, back at the hotel. I slept deeply. When the phone rang again. It was the landline. Your daughter is in the lobby, reception said. She says it's urgent. I checked the clock. Perfect timing. I smoothed my blazer, adjusted my glasses, and went down. Lena was pacing between the couches, wrinkled blouse, messy bun. Panic written under her eyes. When she saw me, she stopped. Short mama, sit, I said, pointing to a chair. We'll speak calmly. She tried softness. Apologies, tea offers. I didn't move. I've made a decision, I said evenly. The house is mine. You've lived there for years without a lease. You have 30 days to leave. As of today, no utilities. Her voice cracked. You're humiliating us. Humiliation, I said. Steady as stone is being told too. Leave your own living room. And for the first time in years, I didn't shrink. Quietly, it is eating the burned edges of pie and leaving the soft center for the king. Today, no one was humiliating anyone. Today, everyone paid their own bill. She tried to defend him. We were saving, she said. We had money. I looked at her. Steadily, over for years, Lena, that savings should be close to $100,000, just on living expenses alone. Where is it? Her eyes slid sideways. Her shoulders fell. He said it's tied up in business, she whispered. Investments, he'll show me later. He will, I said, nodding once. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock sharp. At Mr. Sterling's office, both of you are invited. We'll see what the business is. Her voice sharpened. You called a lawyer against your own family. I called the rules, I replied. Family is respect, not go to your room. Old woman, tomorrow isn't about feelings. It's about facts. Her breath cracked. If we leave, he'll divorce me. He said if he doesn't have your house, he doesn't want me. That sentence didn't sting. It clarified. I leaned forward and covered her clasped hands with mine. If your marriage is held together by my square footage and my bank accounts, that isn't family, Lena. That's a hostage situation. And you're the hostage. She pulled her hands back like they'd been burned. You've become cruel, old and cruel. I've become an adult, I said calmly. At 68, you're 40. You have a head start. Use it. We sat in silence. Teacups clinked softly somewhere behind us. A passerby glanced. Then looked away, just turned the internet back. On she tried one last time. He won't cope. Neither will I know internet, I said. But your voice works fine. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Today, silence. She stood, adjusted her purse strap, searched my face for the softness she used to lean on and didn't find it. I'll be there, she said, already backing away. 10 sharp, I replied. She left quickly. Only then did the tension drain. From my body, not weakness, just breath returning to normal. I took the stairs back up. I needed the walk. In my room. I opened my laptop. An email blinked from Andrew V. Sterling. Notice served. Corporate counsel confirmed receipt. Internal pressure emails detected. Director copied. Reprimand likely. Negotiations tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Both will attend. I closed the lid. Haste is the sister of fear. The king of the living room was already panicking. I opened my phone and turned off the family location app Derek had installed for my safety years ago. Location access prohibited. Good, my dot on the map belonged to me again. I spilled my keys onto the nightstand. The metal rang cleanly, like a new password. That night, order settled in, not victory, not joy, order. The next morning, the conference room was cool, the air conditioning steady. I asked for the head of the table. Andrew sat to my right, folders aligned, pen squared to the edge, in front of me. My ID, the deed, the termination, notice. My armor was simple, a beige blazer. A steady gaze, paper. The door clicked. Derek came in first, rumpled, tie loose, arrogance drained. Lena followed, clutching her purse, eyes down. Please be seated, Andrew said, his voice final. I'm not here for greetings, Derek snapped. We've lived there for years. We have rights. I let the pause stretch long enough for his anger to echo. Rights are exactly why we're here. I said, the house is my sole property. Your use was by goodwill. That goodwill is terminated. 30 days, there's adverse possession. He shot back. We lived openly as owners. I've seen the law, I said softly. I worked with it for 35 years. Adverse possession doesn't apply when the owner lives there, pays the bills, and objects. I do all three. You are not owners. You are loud, temporary users. His jaw tightened. He looked to Andrew. The notice is proper, Andrew said, upon expiration, eviction and recovery of fair market rent will follow. This is illegal, Derek shouted. She cut off utilities. Emotional distress. Internet is not life-sustaining, Andrew replied. If you want it, pay for it. Derek turned on Lena. Tell her. Silence again. I slid a folder toward my daughter. Let the paper speak. For years, I said, you claimed to be saving. Nearly $100,000. Where is it? Investing. Derek scoffed. Leverage, futures, you wouldn't understand. I like specifics. I placed the documents on the table. Loan defaults, margin calls, negative balances. Lena read. Her shoulders collapsed. One tear fell, heavy and cold. 0. She whispered. Yes, I said. Nothing was saved. Just bets, games, prime ribeye, imported beer, all on my card. I would have made it back. Derek barked. The market, and that's why you needed my living room, I asked. To lose louder. He shrank. Family helps, he muttered. Family respects boundaries. I said, you offered neither. I stood, terms. I said, 30 days, utilities stay off. Any screaming when I collect my belongings results in police involvement. Add that to your corporate file. He slumped. Lena covered her face. And one more thing, I said, turning to her. This is your choice. Sink with him, or swim out. I am your mother, not your bank. If I have nowhere to go, she whispered. You'll find a place, I said. Work, rent, sell the car, manage your own money. I've paid for my lessons already. Andrew stood. Meeting concluded. As I passed Derek, I paused. You can press the remote of your own life as much as you like. It doesn't work on my house. Anymore. In the elevator, my phone vibrated. Lena. I took 3 slow breaths, then I answered. I didn't get into his car. Where are you? I asked. Downstairs. In the parking lot, Lena whispered. He's screaming, hitting the steering wheel. He told me to get in, but I couldn't. Good. I said calmly. Walk. Breathe. Don't run back to where screams are waiting. She went quiet. I could hear traffic rushing past, growing softer as she moved away. He says you broke the family. Unplugged internet doesn't break a family, Lena. I said, lies and shouting do. Silence again. Thank you, Mama, she said finally. Barely audible. It hurts, I said, but seeing as the first step. Tomorrow at 10, she asked. I'll be there. We breathed into the phone together for one more second, and then I ended the call. The street smelled like hot asphalt. I stepped outside, lifted my face to the sun, and hailed a cab where to, the driver asked. To a nice restaurant, I said, I'm celebrating today, quietly, by the window overlooking the riverfront. I ordered clam chowder, a salad, and a glass of dry white wine. I placed my phone face down. The teaspoon chimed softly against the bowl. Sunlight danced across the tablecloth. I ate slowly. Like a woman who belonged to herself again. My phone buzzed once. Transfers complete. Supplementary cards closed. Beneficiary changes confirmed. I smiled to myself. No witnesses, no applause. Just loose ends tying themselves shut. Another message followed. This one from Andrew the 5th Sterling. Upon expiration of the 30 days, Roman will be at the gates at 8 sharp with the handover documents and inventory. If there are threats, call. Corporate reprimand confirmed. I finished the wine the way you close a case file. Cleanly. Something inside me clicked into place. The final act had a date and time. I walked along the water afterward. Children zipped past on scooters. Couples argued about nothing. The wind carried river air and warm metal. In a store window, I caught my reflection. The same woman but brighter inside. Not a victim, not a hero, just an adult. Back at the Grand Hyatt, I slipped off my blazer. Armor belongs on a hanger once the work is done. I laid my keys, documents, and notebook on the nightstand. On a clean page, I wrote, Day 30, morning, Roman, deed, keys. I am not home, no scenes, evening, windows open, mop floors, disinfect. Tomorrow, painter, peach. The phone rang. I'm at Zoe's. Lena said, on a folding cot. It's okay. He called dozens of times. I blocked him. Good girl, I said. Sleep tomorrow at 10. Then she asked, quietly, Mom, were you ever afraid of being alone? I answered honestly, until I realized it's worse to be somewhere you don't exist. She exhaled, said good night, and hung up. In the shower, hot water washed away the sticky layer that had clung to me for years in my own family room. I put on a simple nightgown and lay on top of the covers. Soft music filled the room. The silence was honest. You could hear your own breathing in it. The next morning, I ate oatmeal and drank coffee in the hotel cafe. A man nearby frowned at the news. In my life, the headlines had already run. I stopped by Andrew's office to sign final paperwork. Brief, professional, keep going, Celeste. He said, you're doing the right thing. I'm just doing what's mine, I replied, outside. The sun was warm. I went to the salon. I wanted my hair to match my spine. The stylist trimmed away the tired ends. The grey shone like silver. In the mirror, I saw a woman no longer waiting for permission. At a red light, I smiled. Rules worked on roads and in homes. Roman texted, Day 30, 8 sharp, gates confirmed, that evening. I returned to the hotel, turned off the light, and cracked the window just enough to let the city in. The keys rested on the nightstand, warm, familiar. On day 30, I woke without an alarm. The light through the window was even, like a fresh sheet of paper waiting for a signature. I ate breakfast, set my phone face down, and drove to a spa. I would not be home today. Roman called. The truck is here. We're starting. Proceed by inventory. I said, I'm available by phone. Steam, water, herbal tea. I stared at the ceiling and thought of one thing only. Tonight, I will open the windows and wash the floor. At 11, the phone vibrated. Signed, keys returned. Inventory complete. Some wall damage. Furniture marks. Locks intact. At 12:30. They are gone. No anger, no joy, just fact. At 2, I stopped at the hardware store. Gloves, mop, cleaner, rags. On the drive, I called a painter. Can you start tomorrow? Family room and hallway, peach. We can, he said, one day. At the gates, the key turned easily, like the house itself had been holding its breath. Inside, the family room stood empty. Couch marks on the floor, holes in the walls. Stale air. I opened every window. The draft swept through, carrying out what didn't belong. I cleaned shelves, baseboards, corners. I tossed old magazines. Lowered the Savannah riverfront print to where it pleased me. Warm water twice on the floor. A stiff brush on the rug. The house woke up with me. By evening, I put the kettle on. The silence was golden, like fresh wax on wood. Then a gentle knock. Come in, Lena, I said. Coffee's ready. She stepped inside slowly, looking around. It's peaceful. It's peach, I said. We sat with pie between us. I rented a studio, she said. It's small, loud neighbor, but it's mine. I work full-time. Now I filed for divorce. I nodded. The feeling that rose wasn't pride or sadness, just quiet rightness. That's the path, I said. She smiled faintly. He says you broke the family. And you realized, I said. I just stopped feeding the lie. We sat in silence. The garden rustled outside like clean sheets. Thank you for saying no, she said, covering my hand. When you patched the holes, I could finally hear myself. Hearing yourself isn't a luxury, I said. It's order. She asked softly, can I come as a guest? Tea only, no keys. That's exactly right, I said. The door is open to guests. Closed to tenants. We hugged briefly, evenly. After she left, I opened my notebook and wrote, Wednesday, for PMT with neighbors, topics, wills, separate accounts, passwords, bring notebooks. A message blinked from Zoe. Betty is afraid. Her son wants her house. Can we come over? Come at 4. I typed, kettle and papers ready. I closed the notebook. The house was quiet, and this time it was mine. The house was clean and warm, and for the first time, that cleanliness had a purpose. Tomorrow, the doorbell would ring, but it wouldn't bring disaster. It would bring a beginning. Bye for on Wednesday. The kettle was boiling. I laid out the folder of documents, pens, blank sheets, and envelopes. On the cover, I wrote in large pencil letters, Wednesday for PM. The house smelled of peach cobbler and fresh paint. The peach walls glowed in soft sunlight. Not a performance, just order. The bell rang. Zoe arrived first, then Olga, and finally Betty. Hunched over with red eyes, my son is rushing me to sign the house over. Betty whispered at the doorway. Investment, Mama. I'll buy you a better one later. I'm scared to refuse, afraid he'll be angry. Sit, I said. I poured the tea. Let's start simply. Gifting the house is forever. You can't take it back if you want to leave. Something to someone, write a will. As long as you are alive, the property is yours. For a last resort, a life estate can be considered, but carefully, no rushing. Zoe nodded. And don't give passwords to anyone, not the kids, not the grandkids. Their games are not your concern. Exactly. I slid a sheet toward Betty. Here's a phrase to start the conversation. I am not ready to change the owner of the property. To think about it, yes. To sign, no. Repeat it word for word. If he yells, leave the room. Close the door. Only sign when your head is calm. Olga snickered. Next. You'll give her the lawyer's number. I did. Roman, Andrew V. Sterling's. Associate, calm, precise, and fast. Best not to sign anything on impulse or weekends. We wrote bullet points together. Will instead of gift deed, separate accounts, receipts for every borrowed penny. No shared passwords, limited power of attorney. With an end date. I showed them the property tax records and explained how a year of staying with Mom turns into a lifestyle after 4. If you don't call things by their names. Betty flinched at every no at first. But by the end, she straightened and asked for more tea. I feel lighter, she said. I'm going home today not to cry, but to talk. We're here every Wednesday. Zoe reminded her. 4 o'clock. Tea, questions. They left differently assured, not quieter. I washed the cups. Wiped the table, opened windows. The garden smelled of wet grass. The house felt light. Later, Lena stopped by at 8. She knocked like a guest. "Can I come in? Tea still warm." She stepped inside, ran her hand over the peach wall. Beautiful, warm. A house should be warm. Everything else is extra. We sat. She held the mug in both hands, savouring the warmth. I was at the lawyer's. She said, "Divorce is progressing. Full-time work steady. I don't need supplementary cards for milk anymore. I pay myself. But sometimes can I come as a guest? Tea and conversation. No keys." "That's exactly right," I said. "The door is open to guests, close to tenants, not cruelty. A rule," she thought, then smiled slightly. "I miss your no. I spent my whole life learning your yes. Now I'm learning your second word." "The no isn't offense," I said. "It's boundaries, yours, mine, for any adult." Silence fell, the clock ticked. Outside, the rowan tree swayed. "Thank you, Mama," Lena said, hugging me briefly. "If you hadn't turned off the utilities that day, I never would have heard myself. Hearing yourself is adult life." I replied, "I have a meeting tomorrow at 4, she said. "Don't let me down in front of the neighbours." She smiled, left, her step steady dot in the hall. An unknown number blinked on the nightstand. I recognized those calls even without a name. I almost reached for it, then pressed block. My obligation isn't other people's crises. I walked through the house, kitchen, hall, family room. Documents stacked neatly. The Savannah riverfront print hung where it pleased me, in the study. A clean notebook waited. I wrote for myself. Not Lena or anyone still sitting in a green armchair, afraid to pick up the remote. How fear disguises itself as care. How habit drowns out your voice. How one phrase, "to your room, old woman," exposes the scheme. How documents give you back your spine. How unplugged internet can suddenly turn on your brain. You cannot give away yourself or your house not. Out of love, not out of pity. Living together without respect is not family, but a hostage situation. A timely no saves better than 1,000 yeses. I closed the notebook, returned to the family room, ran my hand over the green armchair, and sat down. The remote control lay on the end table. Ordinary, I held it, no longer a symbol of someone else's. Power, just a thing. I turned on the TV. Music played. Violins, pure. No footsteps in the hall. No interruptions. No to your room. I closed my eyes, increased the volume by 1 notch. Exactly as loud as I liked. Enough. I understood being an adult meant setting conditions in my home. It meant enough strength not to save those asking for cards or square footage instead of salvation. It meant understanding a simple truth. Ownership isn't just keys or deeds, it's the right to choose the silence, the people at your table, and the music's volume. I turned off the TV. The house breathed steadily. Outside, the garden darkened. A branch twitched, water clinked in a pipe. Nothing dramatic. Just life. I was no longer renting out. My beige blazer hung on its hook. I adjusted the lapel. The keys jingled on the nightstand, warm. A lone dot in my notebook for tomorrow, Wednesday 4 p.m. sharp, wills and passwords. I closed it, set the kettle for the morning, turned off the light. The house was mine, but most importantly, I was home again, the remote. The volume now regulated by me, and I'm really glad you're here to read it. If you liked the story, like and subscribe. Comment your city and the time you're watching. I'm curious where all of you wonderful people are tuning in from. If you want to support a little extra, there's a donation option. I share new life stories for you every day. And now 2 of my most popular stories will pop up on the screen. Choose which one to watch next.